Yeah.
Good afternoon. We'll come back into session for the June 14th Board of Supervisors meeting regarding the budget, and we'll call a roll, reestablish a quorum, please.
Supervisor Cerna?
Here.
Kennedy?
Here.
Peters?
Here.
Frost?
Here.
Natoli?
Here.
And you have a quorum.
Okay, thank you, Flo. All right, we'll continue down through our sub-agenda for any questions on the items that were presented yesterday. And I think we left off with regional parks. Was there anything else on parks budget that, beyond the conversation direction we gave, any other particular item? All right, then we'll move to animal care and regulation. And I had a question for staff on that, and that relates to proposal was outlined yesterday by Director Dickinson as related to this wellness team and where we are with the contract positions. We had a vacancy that's been close to 6 months. I know there's another contract position, and how soon this team is going to be up and running. That's my question. Rob, if you can field it. Or, yeah.
Certainly. So the animal wellness team is proposed to be comprised of existing staff and contractors, and then 2 additional, as approved by the board, 2 additional intermittent people. We have the contract positions, the CAT position that is focused to this point on cats has been vacant for some period of time. The individual that was in it is no longer functioning in that role. The department has put out, in essence, feelers to solicit interest, and will be initiating the formal process next week to advertise the position to fill that. We do know that there is some interest from several individuals, and so we're hopeful we'll get a good candidate in that fairly quickly. And then as it relates to filling the 2 intermittent positions that were part of the proposed budget, those would be hired off an existing animal care attendant list. There would be interviews of individuals that are currently on that list. The best candidates would be pulled in to fill those intermittent positions. So that would comprise the animal wellness team that we mentioned. We do have an existing animal care attendant who is functioning as the lead for that group right now, and she's doing a very good job. So
are you using community members on your panels for hiring now as a part of it?
There will be individuals on the panels that are not part of the organization. They may be from one of the other shelters in the region, or perhaps a community person.
Yeah, I would just say, this is my view, but I think we're better served, or best served, by having both on the panels. I think particularly as we look to enlarge the organization and enhance what we're doing, I think that proffers the organization and the animals. And as it relates to the other contract position, has that contract been, is it expired, or is it in being renewed, or what?
No, it has not. It has not expired. This would be the dog-focused foster rescue position. The individual that's in it has been in that position as a contractor for some time. The contract is coming up. In part, and we are prepared, or Dave Dickinson, the director, is prepared to act on a new contract for that position. The scope will in part is reflective of the outcome of the board's decision on the wellness team, and either the scope will remain just as it is, or it will be augmented or broadened to reflect the charter of the wellness group that we've talked about.
Okay, thanks. That's my questions then for today. Thank you, Rob. Okay, anything else on animal care? All right, if not, then Health and Human Services. Any reports back? Any questions? Okay. All right, we took probation already. So any other county department, any member of the board wish to, at this time, address that wasn't already talked about today? All right, that brings us to the hour of decision.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So what we would request at this point is that you adopt the resolution that is found under the tab in your budget book entitled Board Letter. There's a resolution approving appropriations for fiscal year 17-18, and then directing us to come back in September for final budget hearings, and then also direct the Department of Personnel Services to prepare an administrative salary resolution amendment to reflect the positions approved by the 17-18 recommended budget.
Is there a need to incorporate the direction was given in the motion that was previously done just before the lunch break relative to that as a part of any budget framework?
I don't believe so. I think I got pretty clear direction.
Okay, so that point of reference is
It's
held. Okay.
it's in our record.
No, I know it is. Okay,
I think also with this, we would also add the 4 positions
Correct.
from the DA's office.
Right.
And then we will fund the public outreach for CalFresh. That's not a deletion in the budget. Those are
Correct.
the only 2 changes we would have.
Okay. All right. Any other questions? Not, I'm going to entertain a motion.
If there are no further questions, I would move to adopt the budget for 17-18 fiscal year, including the recommended budget resolution, the personnel services resolution, and including, Nav just described them and said I didn't need to put them in my motion, excluding the following items that are on the screen for potential conflict of interest from me.
Okay.
I need a second.
Okay, that's the motion. We would note that that's been portrayed on the screen, those budget units that are excluded for the purpose of this motion. Supervisor Cerna.
Just a point of clarification on process. Are we going to then entertain another motion?
Yes.
In terms of, okay.
For the balance, yes, we will.
For the balance?
Yes.
But this one does or does not include regional parks? It does, right?
I believe it does. Can we get the screenshot back up, please?
Yes, it does. That does include regional parks, excluding anything that has to do with Mather that's up on the screen.
Okay. If I assume we can do this, I'd like to register a no vote on regional parks.
Okay. So with the motion before us, it just excludes Mather, you're saying? Is that what it does? It doesn't include the rest of the parks budget, right?
Correct.
So we're just taking the Mather part. So we'll come back, the next motion will be the one we're going to vote on the entirety of it, so.
But this is the appropriate place if I want to register that vote, right?
Actually, yes, it is. Yes, it is.
You want to pull out parks to make it a separate vote?
I want it reflected in the record. I'm a no vote on parks.
Okay.
This is just regional parks as presented in the budget.
Correct.
Right, correct. Okay. All right, so understand the motion. We had a second. And with that, then, if there's nothing further, please vote. And then, voting, please.
The motion passes with Supervisor Cerna, unanimous vote.
Yeah, but with Supervisor Cerna voting,
Registering a no vote on
just
regional
no vote on one
parks.
portion of it, so for the
We're not going to
balance.
vote again.
I'm sorry, let me restate that. So the motion passes with Supervisor Cerna voting no for the parks.
Yeah, whatever
portion.
that budget unit is, it's right up there. It keeps moving around, so it's not the
That
next one.
works.
Okay.
And may I just address the board, please? I just want to be sure that we understand that these are the items that she's excluding. So this motion is for everything that is on here is what she's excluding.
Right, and then we're going to have a motion to take all this up in just a moment, so.
So we
And then
have
the
not
balance-
voted on regional parks yet.
Yes, we have.
Correct, you have not voted on
With the
regional
exception of the
parks.
portion on Mather.
Yeah.
So the budget unit is 640000. We voted on all of that, but the portion that relates to Mather, on regional parks.
So
Just
now we'd
no.
be voting on the balance.
You know, we voted on the balance, so we need a motion then to vote on the balance, which is all of this.
Correct.
Move to approve the balance.
Okay, we have a second?
Second.
Okay, it's moved and second then to approve the balance, as noted in the record that's been displayed. And if nothing further, then please vote.
And the motion carries with Supervisor Peters recusing.
Okay, that's a big step. Now we have consent items, and there's probably some questions. I saw there were some questions and some comments on some of those items, but do you have other budget resolutions?
No, I just had a couple of items on consent that I wanted to call out
Yeah, so let us
to give
turn
you
to
some
that.
information.
Okay, just a minute.
Give us a second to catch up with you.
Let's let all catch up with you, because there's only 60 items there.
Okay.
So we've taken item 2 and item 3 already, correct? And we're going to drop item 4, and then we're going to go into reports back on the rest of it. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And we actually took the CIP, whichever item that is underneath here as well.
Okay.
Yeah, we did. We did 2, 3, the budget resolution, going to drop 4.
Okay, so
Okay.
I have my notes for you guys.
All
I do need a motion to drop item number 4, approval of staffing plan and operating cost statement and Rio Consumnes Correctional Center life cycle cost analysis for the Correctional Center.
So moved.
Drop item 4.
Drop item 4.
Yep.
Yes,
Okay,
that was item
moved and
4.
seconded. Okay, please vote. Mr. Stern, did you want to talk? Were you punched up before? I had you punched up. Is that?
Oh.
No,
I
you
did-
just didn't clear.
Oh, okay, getting cleared. Okay, just be sure. Okay, please vote.
Unanimous vote. And then for my notes regarding the consent matters, for item 58, I need a motion to continue to June 15th.
Would you read the item, please, though? What item is that?
I'm sorry, for item 58, that's the proposed Antelope Property and Business Improvement District. Adopt the resolution of intention to form the district.
All right.
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded. Please vote.
Unanimous vote. I also need a motion to continue item 59, proposed Watt and El Camino Property and Business Improvement District. It's the resolution of intention to form a district,
Or continuing this to tomorrow, is that what you said?
June 15th.
Okay.
All right. that's
So
the-
moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Continue till tomorrow. Please vote.
Unanimous vote. And that concludes my notes.
Okay, we have some verbal reports on a couple of these. There's
Yeah,
one that-
Supervisor Natoli, item number 16, Ms. Evans, can you read that on the record?
Okay. Item 16, approve bid awards to North Star Construction and Engineering Incorporated, Staples Construction Incorporated, and Expon Development Incorporated for job orders.
So the question this morning was that we had indicated improvements to the White E. Thornton facility. That should not have been in there. That was an example. And this is our job order contracts that we have, so it was an error that we kept that facility in there as an example.
All right. Very good. Okay.
Next item, 21.
And the next item, 21, adopt salary equity adjustment for the Sacramento County Employees Retirement System. Chief Executive Officer.
I'd like to invite David Devine to address the board on this item.
Was there a reason why we didn't have a written report?
We have been working through this, and we will put this formally in the record.
Okay, that's important.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, go.
Good afternoon, board members. David Devine, Director of Personnel Services. This is a report back from the meeting from last week in which we were asked to take a look at the job description for the retirement administrator. Staff contacted the consultant who was working on the recruitment, and prior to the recruitment, they did a very comprehensive job analysis on the position. And also, we took a look at other agencies, the comparable agencies, the 7, to take a look at their job descriptions. And taking a look at their job description in conjunction with the consultant, we're confident that the position is operating at its skill level. And there was a little nuance in terms of the board of the retirement board had a special emphasis on the investment structure, and that is something that they were looking for someone to come in with a very complex or highly qualified background in that area. So the information or the analysis that we found didn't really support us moving off our recommendation of setting the salary at the median. However, taking consideration SCR's ability to attract and recruit and to be able to find a highly qualified person, kind of worked up a different solution that kind of maintains both our positions. One, we would set a salary control point at the 50% median, which would be $230,400, which means when SCRS goes out to recruit, they can recruit between the entry-level step and the control point without getting any further approvals. However, if they found someone who really knocks their socks off or who's very exceptional, they can always go beyond the control point, but that would require approval of both the SCRS board and your board. We kind of see that as kind of a good solution. I talked to Annette St. Urbain at PERS. I don't think there was any opposition, but she is here in the audience if you need to have that discussion. But that's all I have, and I'm here to answer any questions.
Okay, thanks, Dave. Supervisor Kennedy?
Just from a practical standpoint, I mean, how does that work? Because you're kind of negotiating contracts, I mean, salaries and all of that. So, I mean, does that happen? Because we can't do that in closed session, right? I mean,
What they would do is, like, generally what we do is we have an advanced step placement that the county executive approves here within the county. It would probably follow that step of their negotiation, and when they approve the agreement to bring SCRS, the SCRS board has to, by motion, their own board have to approve the appointment, and that appointment would come to you that anything over that salary threshold of the median.
so at that point, it would be like an agreement pending board approval?
Correct, your
Okay.
affirmation.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Other questions? Dave? Okay. Ms. Pompey, anything else you need to add? You'd like to come forward?
Do you have something different you want to say?
I just would like to make a comment.
Sure. Okay. Please come forward. Okay. Yeah. Thanks for being here today.
Thank you, Chair Natoli and Supervisors, for the opportunity to address the county's proposal. And while that proposal certainly does get closer to the board's goals, I am compelled, as I'm doing my job, to state at the outset that it really is the SCRS board's preference that you affirm its original recommendation on the CEO salary range. However, in the event you do not take that action, from SCRS' perspective, successful application of the county's alternative approach would greatly depend on the cooperation of county administration and all of you in setting the actual salary of the candidate the board selects to serve as CEO, both as its starting salary as well as in future salary adjustments in subsequent years. Two of the remaining concerns for SCRS are the contingency on a salary level above median could continue to be an impediment to the executive search consultant's efforts on behalf of SCRS to recruit the best talent for the CEO position. And then there is the issue of timing in the actual implementation of the county's proposed alternative. And the concerns are these. While the retirement board can act quickly when it's working through its negotiations with a selected candidate, it can take significant lead time to get an item on this board's agenda. And that's especially true depending on the time of year. So if we're running into holiday season or, again, at end of fiscal year, that can be a challenge. I'm advised, based on SCRS' past experience, that we can envision a scenario where our request to add an item to your agenda on the CEO salary for approval could be turned down or delayed, which could cause significant issues in the timing of finalizing negotiations with the candidate and the commencement of that candidate's employment with SCRS. So while we are not insensitive to the county's concerns about deviating from its customary practice when making equity adjustments to salaries following a compensation study, we also believe the SCRS board has documented and provided a sound rationale for its decision and original recommendation to this board that an exception is warranted in this instance. Thank you for taking my comments.
Thank you for your comments. So I guess I would just ask, I heard what Supervisor Kennedy asked. It seemed like it was more of a streamlined process. I'm not so certain it is now, hearing at least comments here. So run through what it is. I understand that, the bubble point, if it's beyond 230, you got to have both the SCRS board and us act. And
So Supervisor Natoli, basically, what our proposal is that if they find a candidate that is at a higher level than
right,
what the control point is, SCRS board has to authorize it and then comes back to you. And if they get something to us, can't speak about the past, I don't know which examples are out there, but if we find out that they have a candidate and it's ready to go, we meet every 2 weeks and we'll put that in front of you for you to vote on it. In our mind, it's no different than when we recruit for any executive in the county needs a county confirmation, board supervisor confirmation, we bring that to you when we have that ready to come to you. And if there's an emergency, we can speak to them about it and make sure that there's not any delays on the agenda side.
Does the executive officer, separate and apart from the salary piece of it, require this board's authorization? It wouldn't
No, it doesn't.
it would not normally, so we
It's-
are acting as step.
Yes, the hiring of the retirement administrator is done by the SCRS board.
Right, so,
It's the salary piece that we control, or we have say on.
I know.
And if the board so desires, that was the compromise that we had in mind, to hearing the SCRS. We hear the urgency, we know that they want to attract the best person, and we thought this was the best solution.
Can we delegate the authority to streamline it? Is that something within the range, to the upper
The
range?
chief executive or something?
Yeah, right, to the county executive. Is that something that's delegatable? Since it isn't, we don't have to approve the position itself, and we gave you the authority that they were asking up to, you would, exercise your discretion. If you're comfortable with that, I would be comfortable with that.
Okay.
I'm comfortable with
That
that.
streamlines it then. Are you comfortable? Yeah,
Could save a couple weeks.
good. Okay, because then you still retain your control point.
Just don't go crazy.
I guess, and you can, you can always bring it back to us if
Yeah.
you think there's some other particular problem, but I think that would, again, maintains some more latitude, as well as, obviously, the control point talked about here, and certainly the desire of the SCRS board. So, do we have a motion which would modify, I guess, then, or why don't you restate it then, understanding that?
Okay, we established a control point at the 50 percentile, which is $230,400. And then if a candidate is selected above that control point, then you delegate the authority to the county executive for the approval.
Up to the range, which is the 253,695.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay, all right. Okay.
Second.
Moving and seconded then. Anyone in the audience wish to comment on this item? All right, seeing none, please vote.
Unanimous vote.
Thanks, Dave.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Ted. Okay, next items.
Those are all the items I had.
What about item 19 I asked you about? We gotta check.
The lease at Rockingham Drive?
So, as a board, we are undergoing right now a review of our real estate function, and one of the things that we are looking at is how we do leases, and this is one of the leases that we will be looking at. But I got Mike Morris here, he can give
Yeah.
details behind the lease.
Yeah,
too.
I didn't, again, it's explained here, I get that, but there, obviously, before we enter into leases, if we're reviewing them, once we enter into them, we're there, so.
It's more the practice that we're looking at what happened.
Well, yeah, but the practice reflected on some of the, the input that we got relative to whether it's market rate or anything else, and so I know the property. I mean, I remember when they remodeled it. I mean, and I'm no opposition to parks going there. They remodeled it for the sheriff's substation at the time, but I just thought in light of some of the questions that have been raised and whether I trust Mr. Morris is familiar with that, but if not, I wasn't going to get into a full-fledged discussion about that since you was under your.
No, I just want to make sure you knew that.
Yeah. Well, Mike, I don't know if you want to present it. I mean, it's pretty self-evident here in the report. It's just that we're undergoing some review about how these
Mike
transactions
Morris,
are.
Department of General Services. We did, as we do with all of our leases, we do market studies when we're looking at these. This actually probably comes in about 10 to 12% under market for that area, which would be around $1.30 or so, and we're getting this at $1.17. And that is full service. Other than paying electrical, the lease includes gas, water, sewer, custodial, and maintenance. Also includes 3 free months of rent up front, which is worth about $60,000. And it also includes all the tenant improvements that we'll require so we can move right in. So actually, I think it's a well-negotiated lease.
But the complaint that you received that came to me too is that the individual believes that the county didn't follow all the processes. I've talked to Mike about it. That's the information I got. The overall review we're doing is we're looking at it, feel comfortable with the explanation that Mike's given, that this is below market in that area, but still, I don't want to minimize somebody brings a
Well, if it
complaint.
can stand up to the scrutiny, because again, I think it's, complaint, whether it's borne out to be legitimate or not, that I think, again, that needs to be able to stand to the scrutiny, because we're ultimately asked to approve it, so we're taking that, on good recommendation and faith that all that has been adhered to and bringing it to us today. And again, I have no problem, it's a good location, and that it had security for parking and lockers and all that because of the, previous occupant there, although it's been vacant for quite some time. I don't know how many years it's been vacant, for quite a while now.
Yeah, it's been quite a while.
Yeah. Okay, all right. Thank you, Mike. Any other consent items? I had one other one I wanted to ask about. We received some correspondence. Did you have any other ones? Back to item 10 on the dispute resolution.
Mr. Chair, I had item 2.
Okay, Mr. Cernan, sure.
Well, no, we can go start in order from 10.
All right, yeah, so item 10. I read a recommendation, and we had received a letter from the court, and it sounds to me like we're kind of doing double work here, that we went out to the marketplace. Part of it's embedded in the report is that, well, you only got 2 applicants to court in the California Lawyers of the Arts, and I appreciate the protests had been resolved. There's still $100,000 on the table for services that could be made available. Now we're going to go out to another RFP, which requires staff engagement going out. The court has offered to expand, I guess, their program to do that, assuming that we get the services required for the dollars that we put forth. Because what caught my attention really is that it allows for the additional money to augment funding for programs receiving funding in the original RFP. Well, that's kind of like, well, we're going to go out and test the marketplace again, but we got folks we're comfortable and confident with. We're going to go through the process just in case, and if they don't show up, then we can give the money to these folks. And so why do we run the courts through that when I see them more as a partner, a public partner, than I do anything else? So at any rate, that's my question, Britt.
So we crafted this proposal after consulting with County Council on the most appropriate approach to take. And I think the concern is that we did go through an RFP process.
Yeah.
It's not clear what we only got proposals from the 2 organizations, not clear what proposals we would have gotten from those organizations or others had we had a different amount that was capped had the cap amount been different. And so that the most appropriate and fair thing to do was to award to the ones the amount that they're eligible for, to go through another RFP process. And the only reason we included the language regarding allowing use to augment the previous award is because we only did get 2 proposals, and it's potential we will only get 2 proposals, or 1 proposal in the future, but we're not sure. So we thought the most fair thing to do was, based on talking to County Council, the most appropriate thing to do was to go through a new RFP process, but provide some flexibility in the event that we do only get 1 more proposal.
So what problem did County Council have with all this? I still puzzled. I mean, you had more money available than you put it out for. That's a problem most people would like to have. But now we're going to spend, I don't know how many thousands of dollars going out to another RFP. People got to resubmit proposals. And again, maybe that's the right thing to do. That's what's being recommended here. But I guess I just needed to have a little more affirmation as to why that makes a lot of sense.
I don't have that information at the top. I can check. My guess is belts and suspenders.
How much does it cost to go out to an RFP? From the county side of it, let alone
not a lot of out-of-pocket costs. Of course, the staff time cost in terms of reviewing it, but I don't know exactly how much that is.
That's all within the loaded rate that the county bills for. I mean, it's all built into the budget that we just approved. Well, I guess I'd like to have a little more background. I don't know if it's urgent that we do this today. Is it something we can bring back to us on July 11th?
Sure.
Okay.
Well, then they won't have a contract for the following year.
Well, you can approve the contracts for the current ones, but, right? And then you can still make the.
You would award the contracts based on the contracts that are being proposed, but delay the decision on whether to go through a new RFP process.
Either that or what? Augment the existing contractors? Can you go do that?
Yeah, I think we can come back. I think if you approve the contracts as you have it, then Part B of this will become, do we augment the existing one, or do we have to do an RFP?
Correct. And
bring that back to you on the 11th.
Okay, just one other question then. So with the courts, again, we had this whole transfer of this responsibility to them, went through all that. They've been a partner in this. They do the mediation right there in the courts and so forth. I don't know why it would be such a difficult if California, if the other bidder got what they proposed for and they're going to actually look at their programs, why is it a difficult decision to go to the courts? I mean, that's typically government's comfort with government, but
so I think what we need to explore more with County Council is that's what we received, and did not go down that line of questioning. It was an RFP. They were not treated as any different than any entity that comes in and bids on something. So if the nature of the questions you have, I think we can go back, talk to them. If there's a governmental provision, I don't know, we can look at that.
Okay. So if we take action on making the awards today for this, that doesn't preclude anything that we could consider relative to this a few weeks out? All right. Okay, that's my questions. Okay, Mr. Cerny, you had a question on another item?
Yeah, item 60.
I did turn that to
16 or 60?
60.
0.
60, the Pride contract.
Item 60, adopt resolution authorizing the execution of an agreement for debris removal at the American River Parkway with Pride Industries.
Okay, I know that there was a question asked about requiring some more detail about this contract, but I'm struggling to find anywhere in the board letter or the agreement how the Pride Industry employees are going to be, if at all, be kept safe in a environment that, as per the earlier conversation, is fairly dangerous.
Jeff Letterman's coming down to answer that.
Whether it be loose dogs, hypodermic needles, assaults.
Jeff Leatherman, Director, Regional Parks. The intent of this contract is to augment our maintenance division as it relates to storm cleanup, as well as some illegal dumping and possibly illegal camping. But the primary intent is working in the harder to reach places outside of our illegal camping areas so that our maintenance team can focus on those areas, and this team would be in the areas not associated with illegal camping, but more with our random piles of trash that are deposited in the parkway where there aren't camps and dogs and those types of activities going on. If we need to adjust our maintenance staff and or ranger staff to support any work that they're doing, we'll make that adjustment in the field on a day-to-day basis to protect them as we do with our own employees.
Do you know, Jeff, the structure that Pride has for supervision out in the field?
Yeah, in this case, they're looking at a 1 to 3, 1 to 4 ratio of supervision to personnel.
And I assume the personnel are developmentally disabled individuals?
I don't know who they've identified to fulfill this contract at this point.
Okay. Has this ever been attempted before in the Parkway with Pride in particular?
In my 5 years, this would be the first time that we have attempted this type of contract in our regional park system outside of some of our facilities. I'd have to double check, but I do believe within our contract maintenance structure, we may have used Pride Industries for other activities.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Sure.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
I'm going to be registering a no vote on item 60 because I am just absolutely not confident that these individuals are going to be safe on the Parkway.
Okay. All right. Very good. One other item, if you call item 51. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. Mr. Kennedy in this front. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I just want to speak to that specific issue, and I am going to be supporting it. I'm very confident in Pride, have a lot of experience with Pride. Among other things, my daughter's an employee of Pride, though she won't be on this contract, just for the record.
Careful, Patrick.
But they do a fantastic job of putting people in the right job and with the right amount of supervision. Many of their employees, not all, many of their employees are developmentally disabled, or their clients, but it's a wide array of developmental disabilities, so they put people where it's really appropriate. So I feel, and I understand your concerns, and had I not had the intimate exposure to Pride that I've had, I would probably share them, but that's why I'm supporting this.
Yeah, and I appreciate that, and if I hadn't had the intimate experience getting stuck by a hypodermic needle, I'd probably think differently myself.
Okay. All right, Ms. Frost.
But anybody can get stuck by a hypodermic needle.
That's true. Okay, Sue.
I just wanted to, I'm assuming that the Pride Industries covers their employees with an insurance binder, so they're covered if something happens. I'm assuming that's a requirement.
As with our contracts for a variety of services that we provide, we do have those insurance protections in this contract as well.
Okay. All right, anything else on that item? Call item 51, please, very quickly.
Item 51, authorization to execute a revenue agreement with the City of Ileton for the provision of law enforcement services.
Okay. Nav, were you or Nancy involved in this negotiation of this contract at all? It has Nancy's signature on it. The reason I asked that, I think this needs to, again, working with the City of Ileton, who this is more than half the city's annual revenues, and that's not our issue as much as it is theirs, but recognizing the limitations, and that if the city didn't exist, we provided those services down there, and it'd all be built into it. They continue to, I think, struggle to make payments. That's evident here, and we get all their COPS money. I would, I guess, ask that we stay engaged and involved, because I think I shared with you some of the chatter I heard around this before this got to the board that since went away, but. And it wasn't from the Alton side that, they were concerned that they might not even have a contract for sheriff services. And sheriff has been very responsive down there. They had a town hall meeting May 31st. People are very appreciative of the presence there and so forth. I just want to be sure, though, that we're realistic. Again, we have charges. We need to try to recover costs. But we have a city that has very, very limited revenue and opportunities for revenue, and they passed a sales tax last year to support their fire department, which is a city-run fire department. And so, again, I just would ask that your offices be engaged in this. This is a 3-year contract, but the sheriff negotiates these, but it's still in the auspices of, and I think in working, with our civic partners, it's important that there be that level of engagement. They have a new city manager, and again, a couple new faces on city council, I think, are doing their best to stay afloat, and that's been a challenge, no doubt about it. And again, your office has assisted with transportation in the past and with some other things relative to emergency response. I know David Villanueva and his folks worked with the city, and appreciate that, and the fire districts down there. That's all been good. But this, I can see if this continues to go up, at some point in time, it's going to equal the entire budget of the city of Alton if we're not careful. So. And there are a few other functions down there that the city has to accommodate for. So if you could kind of keep a watchful eye, and maybe Nancy will be involved in it next time, but whoever, but our finance people as well. I just think it's important to kind of maintain that balance in the way we look at this. So, because the last point I would make is that if they always show being behind, then they never really get out of the hole. So if we negotiate a contract that's reasonable, certainly from our perspective, it covers costs, but also those are defrayed costs, because under another scenario, we'd be bearing it all within the general fund. So. Thanks. And thanks for your help on Alton stuff in the past. Thank you. Okay, that's all I had. Any other items on the consent calendar? Then, not, then we can entertain a motion.
I want to make a comment to the clerk. My understanding is that item 57 and 5 were both on the recusal slide for me. And just to make the record clear, should I go ahead and recuse myself again? Would that be the easiest thing?
I'm sorry, item 57
and 5.
Yes. So let me just.
I'm sorry, yes, what?
Yes, you're please recuse.
Yeah.
Okay, so how do I reflect that on my vote?
When is do a motion on the ballot on the?
I guess we do. Someone does the motion, and she just repeats that I've already recused.
Let me do it that way. So
okay, let's do it that way. Okay. So do we have a motion? Is there anyone wanting to address the consent calendar? I know we're down to very few folks in the audience, but all right, because this is all, and again, thank you for bringing these in this sequence. I think it's important, and it reflects, obviously, attention to some detail that's very important. So, all right, we have a motion? Okay, Chair would second it. Okay, it's moved and seconded to approve the consent items. It would be 5 through 63?
It would be 5 through 70 with the exception of items 5, 21, 57, with Peters recusing on 5 and 57, and then with the exception of 58, 59, and item 60, showing a no vote from Supervisor Cerna.
Okay, that's the motion, and it's been seconded. Any questions, comments? If not, please vote.
Unanimous vote.
Okay. Anything else related to budget that we have to do today? We include the off-agenda item as well?
I'm sorry, guys, I blew it. You do have an off-agenda that you need to vote for, and first you need to determine the necessity to hear the item. This is a resolution commemorating the installation of the California Portuguese American Veterans Memorial at Capitol Park.
Okay, I'd move. Please vote.
Unanimous vote, and then I need a motion to approve the resolution.
Okay, so moved.
Set.
Okay.
Unanimous vote. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Flo. Thanks for helping us through all that. So, All right, I do have an adjournment. Does anyone else have adjournments?
Supervisor Natoli, if I could just ask for a couple minutes. I
Sure.
wanted to thank the board for the work on the budget we did today and yesterday. But I also want to take an opportunity that there's a lot of folks behind me that you typically don't see. Those are the faces that prepare the budget, work with the departments. I want them to stand. That's our budget and debt management folks. I wanted to acknowledge for the hard work they've done, a lot of the long hours to bring this budget forward, and I just wanted to publicly thank them for the hard work they've done.
There's a lot more that aren't in the gallery.
That's what I was ready to say. And then there's a whole army of other departmental folks that support them. So this was, I mentioned in the onset, it was truly a team effort, and everybody pitched in to present you the budget that we did today, and I can't thank them enough for the work that they've done on this.
I think that goes for all of us, all the work that you do. I mean, we had some discussion here, but when you consider all the items that came in front of us, it really, very few items of dispute. I think you do a great job every year on the budget. It's always explained to me in ways I can understand and go along with, and you respond if there's any questions. So I thank you all.
And I think the fact that it's always a multi-day effort, at least one full day. Regardless of the economic conditions, it's at least that. Certainly we saw during the depths of the recession, there was some really painful decisions that were made, and the team back then was doing yeoman's work as well. So I too want to express my thanks for giving us some clear direction, and I think it goes without saying, we always want options when we can have options up here, and I think this team goes out of their way to respect that request. So I too want to express my appreciation.
And thank you for making it easy for new people to understand, and thank you especially Nav and Britt for walking me through it and for all your help.
Yeah. Well, I would echo that, and thanks for making it easy for guys. It's 23rd budget, so it's always an adventure, but I would just say that certainly working with my colleagues up here over the years, and obviously having the privilege of serving as chair this year, I think the respect is shown by members of this board to one another, to our staff, even when passions run high as it relates to things that we feel very strongly about, and that our community as a whole, whether it be segments of that or certain individuals feel strongly about. We do our best to, I think, reflect that, obviously, in representing 1.5 million people that constitute the population of Sacramento County, people of all ages, all walks of life, different views, different interests, and this budget, in some way or another, touches every one of those folks, either directly or indirectly. I think it's a real compliment, certainly, to the staff that bring us not only the documents and all the various things that have to be attended to, but I think the thought that goes into it, because again, embedded in all this action we just took here in this mountain of paper are services that serve seniors and children and families in distress and folks in various business aspects, and certainly all the functionality of utilities and human services and things that run on the streets and fly in the air and underground, and just a tremendous amount of things that are embedded in here, and $4 billion that are public dollars, either tax and or fees or some other revenue source. And so I express my thanks certainly to my 4 colleagues up here, certainly you, Nav, to folks all here in the room, and the many others of the 12,000 people that make up this workforce that actually make things happen as it relates to this, and all our partners in the community. We see a lot of partners. That's the other thing, is we have people that work with us, or nonprofits or not-for-profits, and individuals that help make this community a good place to live. And I think what's here will continue to improve the quality of life, and we'll continue to be back in these chambers on a regular basis to see how this plays out and things that are related to it. So thanks very much. Okay. Anything else you want to add?
Let's go. No.
Okay. Mr. Ferguson, anything? You got all the decimal points in the right place? The zeros on the right side of the...
Smiling for the first time in 2 days.
Okay. All right, with that then, and I would certainly invite my colleagues if they want to chime in. Today we want to adjourn in memory of someone who was certainly known to folks here at the dais, and obviously I worked very close with Flo and her staff and personnel that work on the second floor, but throughout the county family. Just a few days ago, we got the very unfortunate news that Kevin Romo, who had battled very courageously against cancer, a long battle, and I know that he was courageous in the sense that he was determined to continue to attend to his duties here at the county, working in the clerk's office, and he had worked in a couple other areas of the county as well. But most recently, a dozen years in clerk's office?
Just about.
Yeah. He was, determined to continue to work and to be productive and to contribute in his professional life, all the while that he battled cancer. And again, certainly there are others that did as well, but very personal. And since we knew Kevin and appreciated him, he was a very gentle person, one who was very conscientious. I know that our office has certainly benefited, as did the people we serve, by his attention to detail and his work while he was here with the County of Sacramento. Also would note that his wife, Faye, had worked for the county for a number of years, actually worked in the clerk's office at one time, and she retired a few years ago, and they made their home here in Sacramento, out in the Rancho Cordova area. And he was, I think, beloved by his family and friends, a fairly quiet gentleman, but one who cared very deeply about his commitment to public service. And so knowing that, we want to express our sympathies certainly to the family. I know there's been an announcement regarding the services. He leaves behind his wife, Faye, a son and a granddaughter, and certainly many, many friends from the county family, but elsewhere in his neighborhood and the community where he lived and made his home. So with that, I would ask any of my colleagues if they wanted to make any further comments, and Flo, certainly you're welcome to, too. I know it's very emotional, but on the other hand, this is a time for us to pay tribute to one amongst us who is no longer amongst us in this life, but certainly contributed in many ways to the work we've done here for many, many years.
I just wanted to say that many don't know that Kevin's family had a personal relationship with my family, and his father-in-law had a very deep place for me. He helped my father through veteran services, so very special person. I've known his sister-in-law since I was 13 years old. They are a beautiful family. They're very close-knit. Kevin will be missed. Don't really know how to deal with these kinds of situations, so I won't say too much. I think that you really spoke very highly of him, and just from my heart, Kevin will be missed, and he was special. He was beloved by the Planning Commission. He refused to walk away from his duties to cover the Planning Commission, so we had worked around what he was battling with, and I admire him for that. He was available via text, email, and would come in and really was very, very passionate about staying active and working in the office and being in communication with everyone. And so I'm very saddened by this, and I thank you for adjourning in his memory.
Thanks, Bob. Mr. Serna.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Appreciate your words, Flo and Dawn, about Kevin. I don't expect many outside of this room to understand that the way our offices are laid out on the second floor, it's a little odd because we have a diamond kind of cut out in the middle of a square. It's not the most efficient floor plan, but during my time on the board, we were fortunate to have our offices, both when I was where Supervisor Frost is now, and now in the corner, the northwest corner, and have our offices fairly close to where Kevin worked. And so I know my staff all enjoyed kind of the close working proximity and some of the humorous relief that they enjoyed over the years. Joking around with Kevin at times. I agree with Flo. He took his job extremely seriously and was a very dedicated public servant in his own right. But we kind of jokingly called him the honorary, District 1, fifth staff person on occasion. And when we heard the news, all of us in the District 1 office, when we heard the news of his passing, certainly were grief-stricken along with the rest of his family, his friends, all of us up here on the board, and I will also miss him. And I think I can speak freely for my staff that they are going to sorely miss Kevin's presence as well.
Thanks for sharing. Anybody else?
Yeah, I would just say where Kevin's office was, the first person you saw when you get off the elevator, and the last one was, and he was always so cheery and nice, and good morning and good evening, and just a genuinely nice person, as is his wife. But I know and I was impressed very much with how long he was able to stay here with his illness, and that showed a lot of stamina and guts and interest in what's going on. So he's definitely going to be missed here.
Very well said. So with that, today with our thoughts and prayers certainly for the Romo family and our special sympathies, we will adjourn this meeting in memory of Kevin Romo. And we'll be back in session tomorrow morning, or tomorrow afternoon.